I thank my friend from New Mexico, and I would note that the Department of Transportation Office of Multimodal Transportation is unlikely to have any direct responsibilities concerning January 6th. And if we want to have a discussion about January 6th, I'm more than happy to do so, and I'm happy to say under no way, shape, or form was January 6th an insurrection. I think that's a term that is loaded with partisan content and is inaccurately describes what occurred that day. But given this hearing is on DOT nominees, this is probably not the right
Mr. Chairman,
forum
I think we can both agree it was a bad day, though.
I think this is not the right forum for that discussion. Senator Moreno.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to all of you on being nominated. I'm sure you feel the way most people would feel in your position, which is a great honor to be asked by the President of the United States to serve their country. Ms. Oz, I'll start with you. When you look at your job and making certain that we're advancing research and technology in the automobile industry, where do you see a vision of where we are from a transportation perspective in, let's say, 10 or 15 years? Is private ownership of cars still a factor, or are self-driving autonomous vehicles going to be the primary and only means of transportation?
Senator, first of all, it's good to see you. I enjoyed our time together in your offices, beautiful offices. And we touched on some of these subjects, and I appreciate your interest in the automotive industry and of your continued commitment. I do believe Americans deserve a choice. They deserve a choice on what type of modality they wish to use to get from point A to point B. In some cases, we may no longer want or need to drive in traffic anymore. So, and in some cases, we want to turn on the ignition and just, go on a deep rural drive somewhere in the back road. So we should have that choice. There is some learnings that we can take probably from the first use cases for the self-driving cars other than freight will most likely be in the realm of fleet management, because it's going to be easier to maintain fleets of vehicles, turn them onto home base, get them maintained properly. But that will also mean more cars being sold in total volume, because if you can drive 100,000 miles in 1 year on a fleet vehicle with 90% utility optimization, you can sell more cars.
Sure. Well, again, I'm not concerned about the number of vehicles sold. I'm concerned about ultimately, are we looking to replace private ownership of cars? Like that's my main question, because here's the concern I have. During the Biden administration, they had a very unhealthy obsession with EVs, and that led to a disastrous amount of government money spent, hundreds of billions of dollars in subsidies. They drove car companies almost off the cliff to make EVs. California, of course, lost their mind, whatever was left of it, and wanted everybody driving an electric vehicle. Thanks to the Congressional Review Act, we ended that. Thanks to our chairman, who did a lot of work with the One Big Beautiful Bill, we've now made kind of an old-fashioned concept come true, which is car companies should make the cars that people want to buy. So my question to you, and what I worry about, is that we don't want to go from an obsession with EVs to an obsession with AVs. And we obviously understand level 1 autonomy to level 4 autonomy, totally understand, as long as it's optional, as long as it's not mandated that somebody buy that tech. One of the things I find interesting is my colleagues talk about how all these safety technologies should be mandated. I took the time to find out what kind of cars they personally drive, and you'd be shocked to know that they didn't purchase themselves those advanced driving technologies. So they don't want to spend their own personal money to buy more safety systems in their own cars, but want to mandate that very same technology for all Americans. Rules for thee, but not for me. My question to you, when you're advising our great Secretary of Transportation / NASA Administrator, maybe we'll nominate him to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve too. He would definitely do a better job than Jerome Powell, but that's a different topic for a different
I think they're giving that to Marco Rubio.
Well, I think the quote is 4 jobs. So Sean still has a couple more left. But back to the point, when you're advising him, I just want to be clear-eyed about your advice to him. Is it going to be, hey, we have to move to level 5 autonomy and start down the path of eliminating private ownership of cars? Or is this, how do we invest more in level 1 through level 4 to drive those technologies to be less expensive so that more customers on their own, like my colleagues who currently have not chosen to buy those technologies because maybe they thought they were too expensive to have. And it's a big difference in that conversation.
Senator, I appreciate the analysis, and cost and affordability is a critical measurement in terms of this freedom. And I think we support, and I will support all of the above in terms of level 1 through level 4. I don't think we'll see level 5 in my lifetime, but I do think that we can see this capability deployed on all different types of engines, whether they're ICE or electric. So in that case, I think I would support your view on this. Thank you.
Yeah, because what I don't want to live is in a dystopian future in which big tech controls the transportation industry in America. You know, as you know, we talked about this in my office, America did not invent the automobile, but we invented what the automobile became. And the automobile is the ultimate expression of freedom. The idea that I'm here in Washington, D.C., I can go wherever the heck I want in a car that I own. Not controlled by big tech, not controlled by government. I can decide what kind of car I buy with my own money. It's a concept that my Democrat colleagues over the last 4 years lost sight of. They said all of the above. They said we want to give consumers choice, but in reality, the heavy, heavy hand of government was taking away those choices. And I just want to be incredibly clear that from your perspective, this is not about mandating or driving America towards the point in time in which the only people that control transportation in this country is giant technology companies that would mine our data and have complete control over our lives because it can control where we went and how we went there. I just want to be clear that that is absolutely not something that you would support.
I will support the freedom of choice and the freedom to drive in this country because it's a part of our way of life.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.